Hi, this is Anita from 5 Minutes with Art. One of the emails that I tend to get quite a bit from my website, Anita Louise Art, is about Japanese woodblock prints. Probably every month I'm getting somebody who's sending me a picture of a woodblock print that they have or woodblock print that a relative have. And they want to know how much it's worth, and they want to know whether or not it is worth anything. Let me just first of all say I am not an expert on Japanese woodblock prints, but I love Japanese woodblock prints. And those that are looking to buy or sell them, I want to know the value. There are companies out there that you can find on the internet who say that they are buying Japanese, Chinese, and other type of art. But one of the things that really matters on the Japanese woodblock prints is the artist's signature. And the artist's signature is important because it tells a lot about who the artist is. Was it a famous artist? And also, of course, the more rare the woodblock print is, the more valuable it will be. In fact, if the woodblock print is something that everybody has, it doesn't have as much value if it is something which is very rare or an artist that was extremely famous. But it's really hard to be able to read the Japanese woodblock print signature because of the fact that the Japanese woodblock print signature is in Japanese characters, and it's usually above or near the red artistic seal or chop. Sometimes the words can be added, such as designed by, but then there can be several chops. Chops is the red mark, which is on the Japanese woodblock prints. There could be several of them on the print, and not all of them are necessarily the artist's signature. Some could be the publisher. That's because, Japanese woodblock prints were actually a type of artistic creation, which was a collaboration among many parties. You might have the artist who actually designed it. You may have somebody else who printed it, and you may even have somebody who helped carve it. So there could be several people that were involved with one type of woodblock print. That means that it could have touched the hands of several different people. Here's a few things to understand, though, if you're looking for the artist's signature on a Japanese woodblock print. One is that it's a carved signature. The artists usually hand carve their signature to be used as their mark. This would be printed with the rest of the print. So they didn't necessarily sign it, directly. Like today we have some artists and they will sign a print. They didn't sign that by hand. They put the mark together that would be printed with the rest of the woodblock print. It can be hard to identify. The chisel was responsible for making the mark in the wood and not a brush or a pen signature. It can be very difficult to identify the actual Japanese characters used. And of course, over time, the characters have also changed. Where a lot of the older woodblock prints were, done in the 1700s, 1800s. Since that time, Japanese characters have changed. So, for someone to be able to really read it, they'd have to be able to understand the characters that were being used during that time, which can add complication to it and to why, you really need to have a Japanese expert understand who the actual artist was. They sometimes could have used additional words besides just their name. They could have said words such as designed by, and this would make the signature appear longer than it actually was. So it could have the characters for their names and then designed by. Some artists would omit their name or signature completely from the print. This could be because maybe the print was something to do with political or other sensitive nature for the time period, so they didn't want to have their name on it. So maybe they sort of designed it, incognito. In order to understand who the artist was, would really have to take an expert, somebody who knew the art from that period and knew whether or not who the artist would have been or could have been for this particular print. That is why, locating even locating the signature on it can be, all different. There could be different ways that the artist or different places the artist would have put the actual, their actual signature. That's what makes identifying Japanese woodblock prints, sometimes very difficult, because there was no hard set or fast rule for this of exactly where it should be. One way to do this is to look, to really look for the artist's chop or seal or the publisher's chop or seal, and then go from there. A few things you can remember is usually the artist's seal is in red. Now, this may not be true all the time, but usually red is the color which is used, in Asia for chops. could be square, it could be round, it could be rectangular. Even today on Chinese art, if anyone has a chop, there's, chops can be all different types of shapes. And one artist might decide to use one seal for one piece of artwork and might use another seal for another. So, the artists themselves could have changed the seals or, changed that from artwork to artwork. If you'd like to be able to read more about this, I've written quite an extensive blog post about the different types of Japanese woodblock prints, or in other words, how do you identify Japanese artist's signature on a woodblock print? So if you're interested in woodblock prints, this could be kind of interesting for you to understand, a bit as to exactly where and how to find the artist's signature. This is Anita from 5 Minutes with Art, where we talk about all things to do with art. I'm actually a great fan of Japanese woodblock prints. They, just like artists like Van Gogh, Claude Monet, and many other artists were inspired by them, I'm also very inspired by these Japanese artists. We thank you so much for listening, being part of our community. We'd love to have you give us a thumbs up. And we like to thank those, especially our technical team. Rico helps put this all together. Thank you.